Well, getting some grim news from the Inyo County Sheriff's Department. According to a press release back on Friday, May 9th, the Inyo County Sheriff's Office was notified that a fetus was discovered in the Rovana Housing Tract sewer ponds. According to the medical examiner, the fetus is a male and is believed to be between 12 to 18 weeks of age. Inyo County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's assistance in obtaining any information that will assist in locating the woman who discarded her fetus. Tips can be made anonymously, and you can call 760-878-0383 if you have any information. Well, Bennett Kessler filed this following story. In news of current court cases, there is still no decision on an effort to suppress evidence in the case of Don D. Rossi, accused along with her husband Ken of embezzlement of $1.5 million of Inyo County welfare funds. Rossi's attorney Michael Berger had earlier filed a motion to suppress certain video recorded statements made by Ms. Rossi to investigators. The hearing on that motion concluded in March. Additional paperwork was then filed and a decision is pending. Inyo District Attorney Tom Hardy said there will be a, quote, telephonic status conference on May 22nd. End quote. Now, earlier the DA said that a trial date for the Rossis was set for October 6th. In the case of former Tri-County Fairgrounds employee Rebecca Bragdon, a preliminary hearing is set for August 21st. The Inyo County District Attorney had filed a felony complaint against Bragdon alleging embezzlement, misappropriation of public funds, 2 counts of forgery, 1 grand theft charge for alleged misuse of Fairgrounds credit cards, and 1 count of misdemeanor petty theft related to an iPad allegedly to have been taken. Status conferences are also set for June 18th and July 30th. And in the case of Cherie LeBrac, a former Northern Inyo Hospital employee, a status conference and trial setting are scheduled for June 2nd. LeBrac faces 32 misdemeanor charges of knowingly accessing confidential medical records without permission. Hospital officials had earlier said that when they became aware that LeBrac had accessed confidential files, she was fired. Well, Bennett Kessler also filed this report. One of the first phases of improvements to Mammoth Main Street is the proposed use of parking and snow management. Now, as a follow-up to approval of the Main Street plan, officials launched a study on snow management and parking. A report is now done in draft form by the consultants Winter and Company, and officials will discuss it at 2 meetings on Wednesday. This feasibility study is available on the town website. Now, according to the study, the report provides, quote, an overview of the most likely funding and management mechanisms that may be used to implement the Main Street plan as a whole, as well as specific recommendations for creating a snow management and parking district in the short term, end quote. Now, the study says Old Mammoth Road and the North Village do have districts in place to manage snow, but Main Street does not. The often large snow berms that pile up on Main Street reduce visibility of businesses and safe access for vehicles. Individual property owners now handle on-site snow independently, which the study says costs more than necessary. As for parking, the study gives an overview of parking systems, including funding, management, and construction. The study analyzes the costs for providing snow management and parking and revenues that might be generated. The study also points out that adequate parking is an incentive to redevelopment. Shared parking is suggested. On-street parking and parking structures are examined. The whole Main Street plan includes a landscape median while maintaining 4 lanes, more sidewalks and bike lanes, more outdoor areas for dining and events, and possible movement of businesses closer to the street while eliminating frontage roads. The issues of snow and parking management are first considerations before all of the others. The Planning and Economic Development Commission scheduled discussion of this feasibility study at their meeting scheduled for Wednesday, 2 p.m. in Suite Z, and the Mammoth Lakes Town Council has scheduled a special meeting for a joint workshop with planning to discuss the draft report, and that meeting is scheduled to start at 4 p.m. Wednesday in Suite Z. Well, an interesting live theater film hybrid play, Who's Lying Down in Your Heart by Bishop writer Eva Poole Gilson, will be performed at the Edison Theater in Mammoth Lakes this Saturday, May 17th. Now, Who's Lying Down in Your Heart is described as a searing drama that explores the relationship between two sisters who share a childhood filled with painful secrets. Poetic Justice Project is presenting the play, which was performed over the weekend in Shell Beach, and they will have 2 shows Saturday in Mammoth and then 1 Sunday in Ridgecrest. Sierra Wave Media talked with the author, Eva Poole Gilson.
The idea for the play came from sitting by myself as a writer and thinking about all the things that have happened to me, my childhood, my siblings, and how sometimes I think about my siblings and my childhood, and I wonder if we all grew up in the same place. Because even though it seemed like we had the same parents and the same experiences, we seem to have very different learnings from those experiences. And that's kind of where it came from. It's definitely for mature audiences. Basically, the story is there are 2 sisters, an older sister and a younger sister. They live on 2 sides of the United States, and they communicate by phone. But in the play, which I wrote for 12 characters, I wrote for the 2 sisters, and all the rest of the characters basically are kind of like ghosts, and they were behind a scrim on the stage. But the way it's going to be performed here, it was picked up by Deborah Tabola, who's head of the Poetic Justice Project, and she wanted to tour it. And she wrote a grant to the California Arts Council, got the grant, but it's pretty hard to tour a company with 12 actors. So she did a film version. So now we have the 2 sisters and the character called Grandpa, who will be live on the stage. The rest will be done through video and film. And so even though the 2 sisters are communicating by phone, it's as if they're really right next to each other. And so it's dark in a sense, but they have a kind of family humor that I personally think is very funny. I'm not sure everybody thinks it's funny, but I meant it to be, even though it has a lot of dark spots, I meant it to be uplifting and inspirational and redemptive at the end, because for me, what I found looking at these issues and writing this play is that no matter what kind of sickness, what kind of crimes, what kind of abuse issues there are and addiction issues, there's also a lot of good, and you can find a way if you really look for it. And sometimes it's really hard to find it, but it is possible. Well, that really was Deborah Tabola's idea. She's very interesting. And I think part of the reason she cut it back to 3 actors is, I should just tell you a little bit about her. She's amazing. She's a wonderful writer, but she also is a teacher, and she taught drama in men's prisons for 12 years. She was the director of the arts program down in Southern California in the prisons. And she resigned about 5 years ago and started this Poetic Justice Project. And so what's happened is all of her actors and now actresses are people who have been incarcerated. But when they become part of the community and the rep of her company, the recidivism rate is under 2%. So she's quite fascinating, she's quite amazing, but you can imagine how hard it is to move around 12 people. Yeah. I'm going to kind of hide out at the back. They want me to be there because they'll have questions and answers afterward. I certainly am not going to be on stage. And usually Poetic Justice Project does do question and answers, and the cast get asked a lot of questions, not only about the show, but about themselves and how they happen to be doing this.
Well, we thank Eva Poole Gilson for that, and this should be very cool. See Who's Lying Down in Your Heart at the Edison Theater this Saturday, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Tickets may be purchased online at the website, edisontheater.org, or give a call to 760-872-2446. We'll be back with more news.